I'm really into Taoism. Taoism is an ancient Chinese philosophy. It's about the way of the universe reflected upon Earth, and we see how the way of the universe and its nature can be revealed through observing nature, animals, the sea, life around us, which includes us. Its symbol is Yin Yang, Yin Yang, which is a circle, and in that circle are two tadpoles. One of them is black, one of them is white. The black one has a white eye, the white one has a black eye. Now, when you split that circle in half, you get a 70-30 ratio. A 70-30 ratio. 70% of black, 30% of white, and then vice versa to its mirror image. The thing is, when you take one of the entities, the black fish or the white fish, or the black tadpole or the white tadpole, I kind of think they look like tadpoles usually. When you take one of those entities, because it is not completely white or completely black, and it has an element of its opposite within it, it means that it's a complementary of opposites, but also that for something to exist, it needs its complementary opposite. However, on its own, because it contains an element of the opposite in it, it brings forth a grace, which is potential for movement, potential for growth, and for potentiality for anything really, which is brilliant. So that's the Yin Yang philosophy in a nutshell, and I like to use that in music, in playing, in practicing, in the design of how I construct solos, compose solos in music, full stop. And when I get stuck sometimes, what am I doing, in my playing, and I've got to sort of, have a bit of think about it and kind of take stock in my playing, I kind of usually refer to that symbology. Let me give you an example. What can I say? For instance, if you're playing with a quartet, a jazz quartet, and the drummer is really, really busy all the time from the moment go, I would then consider that as 70%, and then what I would contribute to that would be 30%. Whereas if the drummer would be playing normal feel time, swing, I would consider that as 30%, and then that would allow me 70% more input. So it's finding that balance, that natural sense of order in the universe, right? But you can also apply that with how much emotion you apply to your playing and how much emotion you put into your playing, full stop, really. There's a danger of getting into your playing emotively too much when you're in the moment, when you're soloing. I think it's always a really good idea to keep that distance, to really keep that distance of that 30% difference. So you're playing at 70%, but you've got that 30% emotional detachment from the actual thing that you're doing in the moment when you're soloing. So the band could be going absolutely apeshit behind you, really pushing you, or you're pushing them, and the whole scene is really, really being elevated, and the spirits are really high, and it's reaching this peak in your solo. But you've got to kind of keep composure, emotional composure, because you still don't know where it's going to go after that peak. And you don't want to be putting 100% into it all the time. I mean, I'm not saying don't put 100% into it all the time. It's just my take on things, really, which I'm just sharing with you. So I will keep that 30% difference. I will put 70% into it and keep that space at the top for composure for myself. Because if I put so much emotion into it, because I'm quite an emotive player as it is, if you put so much emotion into it and you get lost in that emotion, it can kind of counteract your flow. It can kind of counteract your focus, your composure, your sense of center, your sense of gravity, and it can kind of trip you up to a certain degree. And so that's how I kind of consider it within an emotive angle. But another thing within the practice side, I kind of use that 70-30 principle as well. When I'm learning something, I could be learning not a tune, not a head, but I could be learning a technique. I could be learning what I would be practicing over the chord changes, and or for instance something like something harmonic, a line, a technical line, it could be a chromatic line or something like that. And sometimes I won't, on purpose, will not learn it 100% right. And I like that. I like that because I like the potential for a mistake to happen when I'm improvising. Wayne Shorter said, jazz music is I dare you. I like that uncertainty when I'm improvising on a gig. I like that uncertainty of, shit, what's happening now? You know, you're on tenterhooks. You kind of feel like you're stepping on thinner ice, and you're taking it to an area that is completely out of your comfort zone. So sometimes I'll learn something. This is not all times, but sometimes I'll learn something, perhaps 70%, maybe 80%, and I'll leave that 20%, 30% space of not being entirely sure about something, and I'll use that as a game for myself to go into a gig and then bring that out in my playing. And then, will I go for it? Okay, I'm going for it. Will I get it? I might get it, but if I don't get it, I won't stop and go, shit. But I'll use that moment of when I might not be able to get all of it as a kind of a mistake, so to speak. And then I'll use my musicianship, my overall musicianship, to solve that puzzle on the spot. And then, whilst interacting with the rhythm section behind me, to feed off them or to inspire new ideas to them, to resolve that element of it didn't quite go right. And so it's using your mistakes and knowing how to use your mistakes in the moment whilst you're soloing to create an excitement in your playing, an excitement and that where's it going next concept within the band, and it becomes exciting, and then the audience also kind of respond to that at the same time. The whole energy of the group is completely on a high then. So I just thought I'd share that with you using the Yin Yang 70-30 concept within a few areas of how I bring it into music. Think about it.